Fearless and truthful.
Provocative and controversial.
We say it like it really is.
With dignity and respect. Committed to free speech and common sense. Upbeat and entertaining.
Straight talking and direct.
We may agitate each other and you.
Thought-provoking, provocative and controversial.
Hello and welcome to The Pledge. Now, there are some pretty simple rules when it comes to weddings. Dress smartly, turn up on time, and do not under any circumstances upstage the bride. But it seems nobody told the Prime Minister this when she turned up for a break on the Isle of Wight last weekend. She interrupted Michelle and Jason Dight having a few photos taken to mark their special day. Fortunately, the happy couple didn't mind, and Mrs May even stopped to have a snap with them and tell Michelle how beautiful she looked. As for our own Michelle, we've found her a gate-crashing Prime Minister. Now we've just got to find her someone to marry her.
I was just about to say, can you find me the husband first, please?
Well, then you got Mrs May, the husband's coming next.
Hello.
OK, coming up, Nick says we need to see and hear our leaders at elections. Michelle preaches to the choir about education. Rachel tackles the gig economy, and we'll give Greg a penny for his thoughts. But first, it's me. I want to talk about immigration. Not whether it's good or bad. We've already done that dance. Now we have to look forward at how it's going to be post-Brexit. Our population has soared by nearly 7 million since 2001, largely because of uncontrolled immigration. And yes, much of it has been advantageous, but the downside is that millions of unskilled workers have come here on what are effectively slave wages, and it's turned us into a lazy nation. And businesses have let that happen because it's easier to pay a Romanian £6 for an hour to clean toilets than incentivise a Brit with decent wages. That has to change. Post-Brexit immigration policy has to be fairer to everyone. Forget EU slave labour and start training people already here. Future immigration has to be based on what our economy needs, not dictated by an EU cartel that doesn't care what uncontrolled immigration does to communities and our public services, and whose policy forces us to favour its labourers over skilled Indian doctors. Post-Brexit Britain can't be about closing our doors. It has to be about flinging them wide open to the world and cherry-picking only the people who will make this country prosper.
Carole, not for the first time, you're absolutely on top of the news because you'll have seen the Migration Advisory Committee, or MAC, report that talked exactly about that, and I think you'll agree underscored a lot of your points.
Yeah.
There's something I want to raise with you. You said we've been turned into a lazy nation. We might explore that. I don't know if you can be turned into a lazy nation. And where I'm definitely with you is you go to an airport or you go to a port and you see people from countries such as Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, who were shoulder to shoulder with us in wars, and they're at the back of the queue as Bulgarians and Poles. I'm telling you. But let's look at something that was on the Sophie Ridge on Sunday show last Sunday with Dr. Liam Fox, who's, of course, International Trade Secretary.
Well, we have to end free movement. We have to end free movement to honour the result of the referendum. We voted to have control of our borders, we voted to have control of our laws, and voted to have control of our money. And so we need to see that free movement is brought to an end. I think it's, from the points I've been making to, it's very clear that it has its advantages, not just in terms of stopping public services being used by those who haven't contributed, but can be an extra tool in the box when it comes to future trade negotiations with other countries.
Liam Fox talking to Sophie Ridge on Sunday here on Sky News. That's my problem. The last part there, it could be an extra tool in the box when it comes to future trade negotiations with other countries. Carole, you can't support the weaponisation of people effectively in the Brexit talks, can you?
No, I can't. But can I go back to what you were saying before about why I think it's made us a lazy nation? I think that people coming into this country, when I say they've been turned into a slave army, that's exactly what I mean, because the people coming in from the unskilled workers, obviously not the skilled ones, the unskilled, they're doing the dirty jobs that many Brits will not do, and the Brits won't do them because they're not paid enough. And my argument is, stop all the unskilled workers. We don't need 2 million builders in this country. What we need is skilled... Well, we don't. We need skilled people. And
we need builders.
And we need... Yeah, we do, but we don't need 2 million Polish ones. We don't need, millions. But what we do need is to use the people already here, to pay them better wages, to pay the Brits already here better wages. We we've seen the way, you know, a lot of people are, you know, on the left who argue that we should keep the doors open. They can't be happy about the fact that we have a lot of workers in this country who come here, they're living in the most appalling conditions, 10 to a room, they're on below average wages. We've got to stop that. It's not fair, it's not right. And we've got to pay the people here who are not in work decent wages, so they will do those dirty jobs.
You can't weaponise people, lastly. That is wrong. What Dr Fox said on Sky News is wrong, isn't it? Using it as a tool. That's horrible.
Using what, immigration as a tool?
In your Brexit tool.
But you have to remember that the reason that a lot of people voted to leave the European Union was because of immigration. We have to stop pretending.
Can we have a stat on immigration?
Okay.
Which is the numbers of non-EU and EU. March 2017 to March 2018, 88,000 EU and 235,000 non-EU. Now, I think this MAC report has suggested that they lift the cap on skilled non-EU migration in order to have a higher wage, higher skilled economy. But I'm very worried about just privileging high skilled workers from whether it's from the non-EU or the EU, because I genuinely think that we do need to have plentiful migration. We need to have we need to be open for business to have a functioning economy. Can I just give you a couple of statistics? Which is that it's not just low-skilled workers who are flooding the market to do the jobs that Brits won't do, mop floors, serve in Pret, white bottoms. According to a YouGov poll, 97 employees in hospitality would be ineligible to work here under the new, you've got to be skilled. I can't need my glasses on. 95% of workers in transport and storage, and even in finance, which you'd think would be a high skill, they'd all be allowed in because they're earning over £30,000. There's also going to be a cap, as well as a skills qualification, for even 0.25% of finance. Can we really afford to have all these people not working here, Carole?
What the MAC report does say is that, that it could have a short-term negative impact, but that would be ruled out by paying the people we have here already better wages.
But they don't want to do those jobs, Carole.
But they have to do them. You can't have a whole underclass of people.
They've got benefits.
You can't
Are we assuming that you're going to do them then?
Sorry?
Are we assuming that you're willing to do some of those jobs? No, it's a perfectly valid question.
Why am I going to go and an office?
You're sitting here
pontificating.
You're sitting here pontificating.
Well, I'm not pontificating. I'm taking part in it.
Yeah, you're talking about saying these people have to work. They've got to take these jobs even if they don't want them.
If you're on the dole and you're claiming benefits and there are jobs out there to have, you should be made to take those jobs.
They're not on the dole.
And those jobs should be better paid than they are.
Let's take there's a guy called Peter Starkings who runs a think tank. Just have a look at what he says.
But on your point, if we look at social care, there are more than 100,000 vacancies today. And what is happening at the moment is that EU low-skilled workers are filling lots of those positions. But if we stop those from coming, we're going to face a massive crisis in that sector. We're looking at around 400,000 unfilled jobs in 10 years' time. Now, lots of your viewers will be thinking, well, why don't we just get British people to do it? Now, the issue is that if you ask the sector, they say we're just not paying high enough wages to attract those British workers. Well, why don't we pay them more? Well, the fact is social care has got a massive funding black hole today within a wider local government black hole.
That's exactly what I said. Pay the people already get higher wages.
But the point is, that does mean increasing taxation, right? Because they're in the social care sector, which is by and large a public sector.
Why does it mean increasing?
So how do you pay?
Why does it mean increasing taxation?
How do you pay them more?
Because businesses for years, Greg, businesses for years have got away with paying slave wages.
These are not businesses. They're mainly in the public sector. Now, are you going to therefore increase council tax? Are you going to increase taxation to pay them proper wages?
What she's saying, instead of a Romanian working in one of these homes, it's going to have to be a British. There's no extra money.
And she's also saying that you're only going to get the Brits to do it if you pay them more. And I agree with that. I'm all for paying people who work in those sectors more money. But it is public. They are in the public sector.
You always want to raise taxation.
No, I'm asking Carole if she wants to.
So I'll say a few things. So first of all, when I was a teenager, I got a job in a pub kitchen when I was 16.
Me too.
My siblings used to do fruit picking. They used to get picked up in a minibus and they used to go off and they used to go to various different farms and they used to do picking. And they used to earn a lot more money than me. So they were Brits that was willing to do those jobs. I'm not saying that they relished the opportunity of that, but they used to do those jobs because they wanted that cash. Those kids probably wouldn't do that work anymore because the wage has been suppressed. It's been suppressed because of the EU. So but that's the first point. The second point is we are able to exert various different controls, and we've always chosen not to. So if you go back to 2004, and you looked at when we were talking about Eastern Europeans and adding those to the EU, we could have put transitional controls in, like most countries in the EU did.
Yeah, we could have, and Tony Blair decided not to.
And then the third point I would make is it's not just about business, because I would ask anyone around this table, if you was doing renovations in your own house and you needed some, I don't know, an extension building, and you got a quote from a Polish builder for, I don't know, I'm being silly with my figures, for 10 grand, or you got a quote from a British builder for 20 grand, sorry, but most people...
Yeah, but that's what drives down wages, Michelle.
So let me ask you this, would you choose the £10,000 Polish quote or the 20?
That's the reality, but that's what drives down wages for people who are builders, and that's what's not fair, and that's actually what's got to stop. And, you know, we have to stop talking about, you know, this guy's talking about social care and the National Health Service. Let's stop pretending that if we stop 200, 300,000 people coming here, the health service is going to fall. No, it's not. The health service employs 1.5 million people. Of that 1.5 million, let me finish this, only 5.6% are EU nationals. That amounts to 66,000 people. It's not going to fall apart.
He's talking about social care. He wasn't talking about the
social
health
care
service.
is also... Yeah, it's part of